Hello and welcome to the Money Saving Expert Collective Switch. We're delighted that 65,000 people have switched or applied to switch at least on the process, by far the biggest collective switch the UK has ever seen. And I just wanted to give you a quick video, first of all to say I hope you save some money and thank you for joining us together to take on the energy companies, but also to give you some tips to make the process go really smoothly. First of all, the timetable. How long is this all going to take? Well, the answer is you should be switched between 4 to 6 weeks from when you first applied. You'll get a welcome pack within around 10 days, either by email or post. You'll then be asked to give an opening meter reading to your new supplier, which it will also pass on to your old supplier as a final meter reading to close that off. And then that should pretty much be the end of the process until it's all done automatically. Bingo, you don't have to do anything else, and you're switched. The but here, though, is I'm afraid you can be rejected. The main reasons for rejection are your energy debt is too big, you incorrectly filled out the details, or you failed the credit check. You'll be told that within around 4 weeks of your application. Don't worry, it doesn't happen to most people, I just have to warn you about it. When that happens, your proposed new supplier will contact you, and we'll also send you something from the Energy Club too, just to make sure that you know about it. Now on to the more important stuff, the tips to maximise this. Really important one for budgeting first. The saving that we showed you in the comparison is not compared to what you were paying, it's compared to what you would have paid. And this is an important distinction. Let's imagine you were on a cheap fix that was going to end in about a month or so, and then your price was going to go up. Now, if our cheap tariff was here, we would have shown you that you were saving compared to what you would have paid, and we do write that description in there. Other people don't, but we like to make this very clear. But that could still mean you are paying more than you did pay in the past. So for budgeting purposes, you have to be very careful not to assume your bills will actually get lower. Yes, you're saving money, but I'm afraid in some narrow circumstances you could be paying more if you were on a cheap tariff that was just about to end. And on a similar point, I need to talk to you about direct debits too. For those of you paying by monthly direct debit, it is the cheapest way to pay. Great. And if you're not, you can switch to it and it's cheaper. But remember, direct debits are based on the supplier's estimate of your bills spread over 12 months. Now, if your old supplier was underestimating your usage, or your new supplier is overestimating, even if you go to a cheaper tariff, you could see your direct debit set at a higher level. If you think that's unfair, you have a right to challenge it. But all that we can do in the Energy Club is tell you who's going to give you the cheapest rate. If the direct debit doesn't match up to that, so your direct debits has increased a lot and you weren't in energy debt before, then I suggest you call the supplier. Don't be scared, you're allowed to do this, you have a right. You pick up the phone and say, I think you've set my direct debit too high, I was meant to be saving money on this, I would expect it to be cheaper because my previous direct debit was fine, can you drop it please? And as long as you're rational with your explanation, they should do that. Now, on to the fun things. We promised if you switch dual fuel, £30 cash back, because we split what we get paid for processing the switch with you. And you'll see I've written before about lots of details about how all the money works. So you're going to get 30 quid. When will you get it? Well, 12 weeks is the maximum time. You should get it before that. We'll try and do it, but we have to wait until you've told your supplier you're switching, your switch goes across, and then it tells us that you've switched, and we get confirmation that everything's all worked, yada, 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 which is why it takes so long, but you will get your money. Next, if you switch to the E.ON collective switch tariff, you're entitled to 1,500 E.ON bonus points. They can be converted into Tesco Club Card points. The way this will work is you'll actually get 125 points a month. If you want to convert them into Tesco, just put your Tesco Club Card in E.ON. You should have already done it when you were supplied. If you didn't have it there, once you log into your online account on E.ON, you can just fill in your Tesco Club Card number. Why do I talk about that? Well, because if you then use Tesco points for its partner Club Card Boost, they can be worth up to 4 times the amount, which means the 15 quid you're effectively getting can be worth up to £60. Quick tip before I go, I'm nearly at the end now, you'll be glad to hear. Very important. If you were in credit with your previous supplier at the point that you switched, it should give you the money back. But some of them don't give you the money back unless you ask for the money back. So, if you don't get a letter, once your switch is through and you're with your new supplier, get on the phone, call them up. It's me doing the phone. Hello? Yeah, I just want to check, was I in credit when I left you? I was in credit about 70 quid. That's correct. All right, can you pay it to me, please? Yeah, we'll surely we'll make that happen. Just make a phone call. It's as easy as that. Should be really simple. Finally, I hope I've covered everything, and we'll of course write this out to you as well, and for those of you who prefer to read it in detail. If you're having any problems, first of all, get in touch with your supplier. But if that doesn't work, we at moneysavingexpert.com, and I personally, take our responsibility to you very seriously, so you can get in touch with us at energyclub@moneysavingexpert.com. But I would ask first, please, just get in contact with the supplier and see if it can sort it out before coming to us, or we'll be swamped. But we are going to help and try and make sure this works as much as we can for everybody who did it. Thank you, and I hope you save some money.